On social media, use the hashtag you and yours. I really want to hear from you about what you still spend your money on because it makes you happy. After cutting back so much on our spending over the last couple of years, what are we still allowing ourselves because it makes us happy? Well, listening to all this is Victoria Leyton. She's a consumer expert. She's a comedian. She's the host of the False Economy podcast. Victoria, thank you so much for coming on the programme. Now, you've heard from people's experiences. I mean, extraordinary that an Uber would make someone happy, or putting on a roll of film and taking pictures would make someone happy, to the extent that they are willing to spend money on it. So I'm going to ask you, before we go anywhere, what do you spend your money on because it makes you happy?
Oh, so many things. As a consumer expert, I do not always practice what I preach, but well, they sort of say, don't they, money can't make you happy, but oh, it does help. I love live entertainment. So as you mentioned, I do stand-up comedian stuff myself, but I love a show. I love being completely taken out of myself. I love handing myself over to somebody for an evening and sort of being taken to a different world. So things like that, I will spend my money on. And also, I think that's what's sort of the common thread for the callers so far, is they've spent money on experiences. And that is certainly what we're seeing from a professional point of view. That's what I'm seeing, is people are saving money on things like sort of disposable fashion, bits and pieces like that. And they're investing in things that make them happy, things they can spend a bit of time on, whether you're reading a book to escape to another world, or if you are getting in a taxi and seeing the world with your true eyes. I think impulse purchasing has kind of cut back, but people are now really thinking about the stuff that they are not willing to give up that makes life feel a little bit better. So it's interesting to see how I experience life mirrored by the callers.
It was amazing, isn't it? But you've used a word that they've used too, and that I've heard many times, and that's escape. So if it's a book, it allows you to escape. If it's an Uber, it allows you to get somewhere else and escape. If it's taking pictures, your mind is somewhere else. Do you think that's because the world is in a different place at the moment and we're all feeling it, or because we need to escape from the financial strictures that are on us at the moment?
I think experiencing life as full as possible it's always on the agenda. I don't think the cost of living crisis necessarily made that happen, but I will say people do think now more about what is going to make them happy. They are spending money. They've got less to spend, so you can't do everything. So you have to prioritize the thing that is going to really, really make you the happiest. And I think Jackie's dancing is pretty inspirational. Yeah. I loved everything about that story. And it's something that's like starting stand-up comedy. I only started about 5 years ago, and I'm 40 this year. So it was a very late decision to take up a different interest, particularly something that's so frightening. I was phobic of public speaking, so I went to my local open mic, I gave it a try, and I completely fell in love with it. And I think life still has the capacity to surprise you, even if you are struggling to finance your dreams.
They say you can't buy happiness. Certainly in our house, you can eat it. Are people looking for more elemental things, do you think? Something to do with your senses? For you, a sense of fear sounds like it. You know, people are talking about things that smell nice or feel nice or look nice, or, you know, furry things, or, and as we heard, escapist things.
Yeah, and we saw that over Christmas as well, because there were a lot of doom and gloom reports suggesting that it was going to be a very meagre Christmas for British households. But what actually happened when we saw what people spent on is they prioritised making the Christmas dinner the best it could be. So people spent 7% more on Christmas dinner, on making sure they had the pigs in blankets. So there are some things that people are not willing to scrimp on. Do you know what? They've got to the end of the year, they're celebrating with family, they've put all their money into that, and they're going to have a really good day. And I think thoughtful spending is definitely sort of more the buzzword than impulse spending. It's people taking time. And I think the callers sort of highlighted this as well. So it's what they weren't willing to give up, but also not buying hardbacks, not buying first editions anymore. You still want the book, but you're working on how you can have it within the budget that you have. And I think that is something that a lot of people are doing. It's less giving up everything and more, where can I make a swap? Like, I'll get rid of the car, I won't pay car insurance, and I'll take a taxi because the destination is not the only thing that's going to enrich this experience of leaving the house. I can see the museum out of the window. And I think people are working out how they can make sort of everything in life just a little bit sparklier.
Well, Victoria Leyton, thank you so much. Stay with us throughout the